I don't know exactly where this where bleh? I don't know exactly where this video is gonna go, but I'm wondering if I'm depressed or not, or just a bit down. I'm really not sure because I've had depression before and then I've been really far down, but now it doesn't feel quite the same. But I'm wondering if similar to PTSD, that it just has a wide spectrum of where you could fit in. So I'm just gonna unload a bunch of things as to why I think maybe I'm depressed. Just get it off my chest and see what you guys think. So yeah, it's almost 4 in the morning now, and for the past, I think, 3 weeks or something, I have gone to bed after 3 in the morning. And this is something I can't do anything about. I've tried to go to bed earlier a lot of times and it doesn't work. I've had a sleeping problem for the last 13 years. It still has not been diagnosed, and I was medicated maybe for 2 months, at which point the medication didn't do anything for the sleeping problem, but it made me sleep better once I actually fell asleep. But seeing as the sleeping medication was not something dangerous to take, I even tried 8 times the dose you're normally supposed to have, and that had zero effect. And I experimented with trying normal dose every hour. I experimented with twice the dose, and yeah, as you can see, I tried to step the space down and see if I would be hit any harder. But no, it didn't happen. But at least it calmed down the worst of the sleeping problem after a month. So after another month of trying, I just quit, because what's the point in being on medication that doesn't do anything? But that was a few years ago. But yeah, my sleeping problem's not really a problem to me. It doesn't affect me too much. I mean, in the end, I sleep the hours I need, and I'm awake the hours I need, so it's okay. But I don't know. Lately, there's just stuff where I feel kind of unmotivated, and right before this down spiral began, I actually had an up spiral, like a spike in energy and motivation, where every day and every time I went to the kitchen I checked, is there any dishes I can do? Because I had been backlogged on dishes for over 6 months, and now I'm still backlogged because I'm not doing them. But I actually did them. Like every time the previous dishes had dried, I would just go and wash something else, and now I'm not doing it. Like, there are still dishes that need to be done. I think, like, I don't know, somewhere between 1 and 2 shopping bags. Like, if they're not full to the brim, but if they're like half full, then 1 to 2 of those of dishes maybe. Mainly cutlery. And then 1 cake tin and I think 2 big glass bowls that I used for some art projects. Yeah, and I wish this could be done. I wish I could do it. But the problem is not only the paper trash and the dishes, but the fact that I also suffer from seizures and being exhausted, and then the sleeping problem doesn't help on top of that. And doing the dishes is one of the main triggers of me having a paralyzing seizure. And now that I've come to the point of self-acceptance and accepting that I'm sick, and where I surrender to my illnesses and I let my body be the boss, I'm doing a lot better, and the illnesses are not hurting me as much as they would. But still, if I try to push it, the stuff goes bad. So I'm kind of down about that, I suppose. And recently I actually I think I spent like $6,000 on stuff I wanted. Whether it be a box of chocolate bars, a 3D printer, making my own sword from Dark Souls, which felt awesome, donating $1,500 to charity, still stuff doesn't feel awesome. And like, I made this sword and I pick it up and it's just made from plastic. It's just a replica in full size. I pick it up and I feel awesome for like 3-5 seconds. And then just, it's gone. The excitement's gone. I put down the sword and stuff just goes back to being mediocre. And I'm just not excited, you know? Stuff just doesn't seem to entertain me for too long. And I've pretty much only been able to play Dark Souls and one stupid app on my tablet. Stupid pay-to-win app that's not really all that fun, but somehow it's kept me entertained and I've been able to actually play it a bit. And I've kind of been motivated to getting farther in that, but still I just can't get motivated. And I've been playing games all my life, you know? Like my earliest memories are from 3 things, and that's kindergarten, our backyard, and from playing Ocarina of Time. So my whole life I've been playing games, and just 2 or 3 months ago I was playing Ark Survival Evolved, and I quit it, I guess somewhere between probably around 2 months ago was when I quit it. But I picked up that game and played it non-stop for so long. In fact, it must have been way longer ago. Like, I'm not good with keeping track of the time, but I remember I picked it up December 21st, and I played it 14 hours a day on average. Like, it used to be 13, but then I got really into it, so the average went up to 14 hours a day, and then I quit it at 1,200 something hours. And I believe that means I played it for like 2 months, maybe a little bit more. I'm not gonna do the math, but yeah. And I had no problem parting with all the stuff I built in that game. Like the amazing lake house that I built, and all the dinosaurs I raised, all I think 300 of them. I think I had that many on my own, and I even completed breeding them to the maximum potential, like selectively breeding all the strongest together, getting the best genes. And then I was at the point where if I kept breeding I would just create clones of the parents essentially and just keep getting the same thing. And so with no challenge and accomplishing everything, the game got boring, you know? Like I hadn't 100% become the best in every single regard, but I had become so good that there was no challenge and nothing could take me down. And even if somebody was to somehow take half my shit away, I would still be well off and could just bounce right back. And I remember when I quit that, I could just play Dark Souls or that stupid app. I mean, quitting Ark was why I started playing this stupid app. And I suppose I played the app for 2 months since it's been daily logins. But I don't know, I can't get the months to line up, but who knows, time is relative. But yeah, I suppose there's also a problem that I should have mentioned earlier, but I didn't. I focused more on the seizures and fatigue. But it's that the reason why I have problems with the stupid dishes and stupid... what should I call it? The paper trash, right? The paper trash and the dishes. The problem kind of comes from the government not recognizing me as disabled, even though I'm 23 and have been disabled since 19, handicapped since the age of 8, but of course nobody recognized that either. But yeah, been on welfare since I had to drop out at the age of 20. And that kind of sucked. But because they didn't recognize me as disabled, I got put in a 1-year long queue to actually move into this apartment. And the problem is, if they don't recognize me as disabled, this is all that they are willing to give me, really. Like, they're not willing to give me a permanent residence. I think this is some kind of apartment where I'm allowed to live for 3 years, and then I'm forced to move out, I think. Although it seems one of my neighbors has lived here a lot longer, so maybe I can live here longer, I don't know. But if I got a better apartment, like what I should have had, like other disabled people I've seen, then I would have a dishwasher and I would have proper trash disposal. And I should know because I actually worked at least like in some deal with the school. I got to work in the home nursing business, and I got to see where disabled people were kept, and even though it was small and pretty minimum, like what I have, they still had what they needed, and I don't. Like, when I was originally disabled, I had 10 medical conditions, medication for one of them, and then I was forced to starve for 4 months because my money was stolen and my mom didn't feed me, and that's when I got in contact with welfare. But apparently they don't think that makes you disabled. Like having several seizures every day, having the strength of a friggin', I don't know, and missing the written test 5 times in a row, and then on the 6th time finally being able to show up. And then somehow this piece of paper with 10 questions supposedly proves I'm not disabled, or rather doesn't prove my disability, which I think is complete crap. And the only thing that the welfare department kept bringing up was that, oh, Bechdrev's disease doesn't necessarily mean you're disabled. But like, it didn't suffer from just Bechdrev's disease, which is essentially arthritis in all your joints. But I also suffered from the complication of Bechdrev's disease causing musculatory inflammations, plus all the other 9 medical conditions. So it's really weird that they just judged me on that one illness that was diagnosed, and none of my symptoms, even the ones I videotaped, actually had any measure to them. And even the lawyer I spoke to said this sounded completely wrong, and they owe me actually 3 years of disability welfare because they've been giving me the wrong kind of welfare for all of this time. But it also sucks to know that I could have had a proper house, proper housing, where I could have had a dishwasher. And it wouldn't really have been a problem if I was brought up without a dishwasher and I was used to this kind of stuff. But I was only used to cleaning the frying pan and the spatula. Like, that was what I was used to cleaning. Then I move out and suddenly there's all that stuff that needs to be cleaned. And I can't keep a variety of meals anymore. Like, my diet has evolved into just being a pizza diet, where every 1 to 2 weeks I consume 10 pizzas. And I actually have a blood test to prove that that's not unhealthy. Like if anything, my fat intake is actually slightly low. And my bad cholesterol is below the minimum, while good cholesterol is right in the middle. And my doctor assured me that the blood tests were just perfect. There was nothing wrong except for a liver sample. But I'm soon gonna take another blood test since it's been a year. And that blood test is gonna show whether or not anything has changed, and if being on a pizza diet for I think 2 years has done anything. But yeah, if I was on the diet for over 6 months and then had a blood test taken showing that I'm healthy, then it should be fine. Should be, but you never know. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Stuff builds up, and I really wish I could just take the stuff and put it in the machine and be done with it. Or for the paper trash, I wish that spending 10 minutes tearing up pizza boxes and putting them in a trash bag wouldn't make me have to spend 5 hours in that bed just resting. And after those 5 hours I would resume either taking out the trash or playing some more games or watching movies. And then I would go to bed just, I don't know, after another 2 to 5 hours. Then in the morning I would probably take out the trash bag that it took 10 minutes of just tearing cardboard to fill up. And it won't even be full, but it's just 10 minutes of doing that stuff got me bedridden, so that's where I stopped. And then in the morning, either I continue tearing up trash until I've done enough, or until I'm starting to be too tired. And then I'll just take out that bag. I'll take it out and I'll spend forever throwing out the trash, because the trash chute is just too small and it has to be hand-fed. One fistful at a time, just one fistful, keep giving it the trash. And it takes so long, and there's no ergonomic way to do it really. So I end up with 4 days of back pain and arm pain afterwards. So it's like, not only is there not proper trash and, well, trash disposal and dishwashing stuff, but just 10 minutes of dealing with it makes me bedridden for 5 hours, at least on the worst. But then on top of that, throwing it out, that will give me lots of pain for the next 4 days. And the pain's not gonna disappear until I sleep again. So it's gonna take 4 nights of sleeping to get rid of the pain. And it's just a big pain in the ass. So yeah. I guess I have a few things that are bothering me. And then a long time ago, when I actually searched for compensation for the over 50 years of medical malpractice I've been through, the injuries I sustained in school because the teachers didn't grip in, of course the delayed diagnosis is both under that, what should I call it? The delayed diagnosis for what the doctors knew about, that's under the 50+ year mark that I said. And the teachers delayed diagnosing other things, but I haven't counted what the teachers delayed. But they definitely delayed a lot, and they also made me get injuries for life that I shouldn't need, which have given me problems with eating, chewing, swallowing, drinking, and speaking, and even breathing. So sometimes when I lie in bed trying to sleep, I suddenly can't breathe because my throat closes. And that's due to one of the injuries that I had thanks to one of those assholes that was a bully to me. And he almost killed me. But luckily, instead of me dying, my throat just broke and made the loudest crack I've ever heard, which luckily made him let go. But you know, I was disabled at that age, or not disabled, but crippled. I had lost 60% of my strength in just 5 years of having Bechtere's disease. Which reminds me that I was the youngest case of Bechtere's disease, as far as I know. I've never heard of another 8-year-old with Bechtere's disease. But that was me. Something that's essentially arthritis from the age of 8. You bet that was terrible to grow up with. But yeah, despite bringing evidence, x-rays, testimonies, 4 years of a psychologist log, and of course my entire year's worth of medical records, I was denied compensation for all of that. And you know, I didn't even put that it was so many years of medical malpractice. I just put in, there was medical malpractice, these were the illnesses I suffered from that the doctor knew about, and these were the problems I had in school and the things that the teachers should have noticed. And here are the injuries I sustained from the repeated bullying by several people grouping up against me. But no, they just flat out denied my case and said it wasn't good enough. They said it should have been reported to the police within 3 years of it starting. I think it's really, really weird that they denied me compensations for what the doctors did, what the teachers did, and what the bullies did. I mean, it doesn't sound right to deny me on all 3 claims. So I'm kinda upset about that still. I mean, the medical malpractice alone should be worth at least 25 million Norwegian kroner. but that's just my approximation based on other court case results. And since I'm not educated within the law, I don't know if I'm correct or not. And I would say the stuff that the teachers did and the bullies did, the trauma I sustained there, is worth 5 to 10 million more, probably. I mean, that guy who got anxiety from his bullying in school but didn't sustain any physical injuries, he got 5 million just flat out from having anxiety. What I had to endure was fucking PTSD, which is a lot worse than anxiety. And I should know because I had anxiety back when I had 10 medical conditions at the same time. But, 6 years before that was when I had PTSD. So I've known both. But yeah. Feels like shit. Absolutely, it feels so bad to have two different judges deny any form of compensation whatsoever. But when I think about, in terms of money, what's fair, 25 million seems low. 30 million seems, yeah, it's at least something. 35, then I feel I'm happy, but I don't know if my feelings should be taken into account. But 35 million Norwegian crowns, that actually sounds like fair compensation. And my sister doesn't know everything I've been through, but I've told her the main stuff, and I asked her, do I deserve to get enough compensation so I never have to work a day in my life? And she said yes. I don't know if that's because she knows me, she knows I'm telling the truth and she loves me, or if that's her unadulterated opinion. I do not know. But I just feel like with what I estimated myself and what I feel, it feels correct that 35 million is what I'm due to these injuries. But because of this stupid Asperger syndrome I have, even if I become abled again instead of being disabled, unless I get that compensation, I don't really want to work. Because I have this stupid sense of justice where I want my compensation even to the point where it hurts me. So if I'm not getting that flat sum, like an apology plus an actual amount that is apologetic, then I'm instead gonna sit on welfare for the rest of my life until I've drained that amount of money and feel like my compensation has been paid. And that's kinda dumb. It is. But for the past, I'm gonna say 3 years, I haven't shown too much recovery. Like, sure, I've beaten 4 medical conditions. I've gotten a 5th one and then beat that one technically. But still, I haven't shown that I'm not disabled yet. And there's a chance I'm still injured for the 4 months of starvation I had to endure. And in these 3 years, at 4 separate occasions, I have worked out for several months, and then I've become sicker. Like, for the first month, I show that I'm getting better, and for some of the times that I worked out, I became better for a little while after that, and then it just started to decline, where it just went down. And I'm getting my vitamins from that juice. I just can't think too much. Like, my vitamins and minerals, they are good. My protein, I take a protein shake every week, every other week, depending on what my protein intake has been like, because I know it shouldn't be too low. And every time I've been working out, I've taken a protein shake on the day I worked out and also on the day after. And I know how much my body can process, so I'm not taking too much, and I'm not super low. But I'm not aiming at my cap, like I'm aiming like 80% of what my body can process in one day, because I don't want to do too much. But just know I get sick every time I work out. And I've tried working out without any supplements and just eating chicken, but that didn't work either. So what am I gonna do if I try to exercise and that makes me sick? Then I'm probably not fit for work. But also, I have been to work practice also 4 times, I think. Actually, it could have been 3 times. But yeah, the year I became disabled, I had a 5% attendance. The year before, I was gone 45 days in school. The year before that, it was 14 days. The year before that, it was 7. The year before that, it was 5. So obviously there's a trend of increasingly getting sicker. But then when I got to these jobs, then at first I was supposed to work 3 days a week, I think it was. The first week I managed 3 days, then 2 days, then 1 day, and then I think it was either 0 days or 1 day for the next week. But overall, my average was showing up 1 day a week or 1 day every other week. I don't remember, but it was pretty low. Then I got put into a new job where they wanted me to work 2 days a week, and there I ended up with, I think, 30% attendance again. And then I was supposed to work 1 day a week. The next time I was put into work practice in a great environment, great people, good job, entertaining. And it was fun. I made computer cables, checked circuit boards, and made sure all the stuff was working. But despite being praised for my accuracy, my speed, and just overall quality of work, I still showed up like 20-30% of the time, and it wasn't good enough. But towards the end I managed to talk to my boss, and I asked if we can make some kind of deal, if it was possible for me to just show up any day of the week instead of every Wednesday. And so I would keep trying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know if did I even say all the days? I don't know. But yeah. Usually it went a lot better after that, but I don't know of any job where I'm actually able to do that, where I can show up whatever day of the week and maybe whatever time as well. But I know that even though I could only do this for like a month, maybe a bit more than a month, I think 6 weeks was how long I got to try showing up whatever day I wanted. And at that point I did actually manage, I think, to show up every week, and once on a Thursday, once on a Friday, despite trying to show up all the way from Monday. So that's kind of pretty bad, where you see that 3 days in a row I was too sick, and on the 4th one I succeeded. Or sometimes 4 days in a row too sick, but on the 5th one it was okay. But still, in this job where I worked for several months with just 1 day a week as my schedule, I still ended up with a less than 50% attendance rate. And that was again because of the seizures and the sleeping problem. So it's not like I haven't tried to be able-bodied. I have tried to get back to where I used to be, but so far, both working out and working in the job, they prove I'm not ready. They prove my body has not recovered yet. And now I'm getting into this downward spiral mental state where stuff is just not entertaining. I'm not motivated anymore. And I don't know. I don't really know what to do and what's entertaining anymore. Like I've been wanting to make a lot of videos and I haven't felt motivated to do so. Even something that made me really happy at first didn't sound like a good idea. It just I made 2 ideas and then I didn't do any more because it stopped being entertaining somewhere halfway through editing the second one. That's kind of my problem in general with editing videos. It's like I'll burn for a video for like 5 minutes, maybe 10, and then there's no more passion. It's always been like that with video editing since a few years back. Probably my first year or two of making videos was fun, and then after that it became really difficult to edit for some reason. I think I've been on YouTube for like 9 years now. It could be 10, but I think 9. Of course, I've been running different channels and abandoned old ones and started fresh. Of course, starting fresh doesn't really work unless you change. But I started fresh to erase my old picture and kind of try something different. And this Ash Will Speak channel has just been me showing the bad side of myself. And in general, people have judged me for the bad that exists in the good. Like if I'm speaking in yin and yang terms, you could say that people have called me mean things and said this and that, but they have judged me based on the bad stuff that exists in my good. They haven't seen the actual ocean of bad. They've just seen the little puddle that exists in the good, and they assume that that's the only thing holding me back, and they don't realize there's way worse stuff on the other side of the coin. So yeah, I don't know where stuff's going. Like, I don't know what tomorrow holds. But in a sense, I hope I can kind of stay on welfare, because I think I deserve it. Other people think I do. And it's basically the only thing I've been taught what to do. I mean, my whole life I was only taught that I wasn't gonna be good enough, that I had no future, that I was an idiot, and, you know, despite never believing that, I still fought, I still became educated as an ambulance driver, but then I got that stupid diagnosis and realized how bad it was, and I couldn't become that job. So instead, I spent all my life savings trying not to be disabled, trying to learn to write, trying to at least do something where I would have an option to not be on welfare, because I really did not want to be on welfare. So I think I gambled 3,000 British pounds originally on not being disabled and just trying to get my writing skills up so I can become better and then become good enough to actually publish either my movie or my anime, but now I call it my light novel, because, you know, anime is something you animate. Light novel is when you just write a bunch of text, then you have manga when you have the pictures with the text, and then when you finally transcend into moving pictures, that's when you have anime. But despite trying that, it didn't work. And as I said, my money was stolen, and in the end I think I lost 9,000 British pounds because the university lied to me so much, stole my money, and stuff didn't go well. And then I also came home finding out I had debt from the scholarship company making a mistake. And when I got a tax refund earlier, I actually didn't get a tax refund but a study loan, yet it was marketed as a tax refund. And I was okay with that. It seemed correct, but it wasn't, so I ended up having a way bigger debt than I was supposed to have. And if they hadn't made that mistake, I wouldn't even have studied to begin with, because I would have realized, shit, I don't have enough money to do this. Because I did it because I had enough money to last until the scholarship would come. But then, you know, becoming disabled, there was no way I could pass, and then there was no way I could finish the year, and then I would have to pay back the scholarship I was gonna get. So I had to cancel everything. Yeah. But you know, I tried. I fucking tried really hard. That's what people don't see. They just call me lazy, call me fat, call me a loser, and they say all kinds of bad things, but they don't realize I tried really fucking hard. I mean, what happened when I knocked off the suicidal thoughts and had 9 medical conditions, one of them being anxiety, I mind you. I immediately went out and tried to work out. I joined this nice gym with a very nice leader. I got in for free. And when I went to do the reps, or exercises, rather, I did 1 rep and then I was toast. I could literally not do a second rep. My body was so broken to the point where 1 rep was all I could do. And then I couldn't do another one. It was so heavy. And it was so painful I couldn't believe it. And I was gone a lot of those appointments I had at the gym. But I managed to show up a second time and do the lower impact exercises a little bit. But I noticed less than 1 minute of exercising, and I was not pumped. What's the word? I was out of it. I was done. I couldn't do anymore. And I remember that day I was supposed to starve, and I talked to my personal trainer about it, and, well, not personal trainer, but she was just a trainer in general. And she took me inside, brought me to the kitchen, and she gave me her already pre-seasoned salmon ready to go. So she gave me her food just so I wouldn't have to starve that day. And I went home, I put it in the oven, and it was the best damn salmon I ever had. I still remember it, and I cried a little 1 or 2 days ago when I thought about it. And she even woke me up today. She called me, and she's still kind of looking out for me and asking if I want to join. And yeah, I'm ready. For the second time, I'm ready to join her exercise group, which was not what I joined the time when she gave me salmon. That was just me coming on my own. But I joined her group last year, had fun, but again I became sick. And this year I'm gonna join her group again. I'm gonna try really hard, but I'm not gonna push myself over the edge. I'm gonna stay within the comfort zone. But I'm gonna try to push myself and see if I can exercise this year, and if maybe I'm not gonna be sick, and if maybe, just maybe, this time I can attend at over 50% of the time. Because last time I attended roughly 50%. But I hope maybe I can do it this time. But yeah, my life's been a fucking roller coaster. And I suppose I can finish off with more depressing notes. Hooray, because my channel's already depressing. Because, you know, in my life there were a few things that were wrong, and it was my grandparents. I mean, if I was supposed to say the sins of different people, my grandparents' sins would be to have 3 children despite knowing of a debilitating illness that grandpa had and which was inheritable. And then they let those 3 kids have another 8 kids, so they essentially procreated 11 people into this world, fully aware of this illness being a risk. And then they don't tell anyone that this is a risk at all. Like, they don't tell anyone that they should take a blood test to see if a kid has it. And despite seeing me growing up in incredible pain, so much pain to the point where my nerves shut off, because the pain is so intense the nerves can't handle sending that many signals, they don't say anything. But once I self-diagnose this shit and get it actually diagnosed with 2 separate blood tests, that's when they come clean and say that, oh yeah, grandpa has this illness, and he spent 10 minutes getting into the car in his early 20s because he had so much problems moving and so much pain. Then he was diagnosed as at early 30s and immediately got put with the disabled label, and he got welfare and never worked again. So I would definitely say I had the wrong grandparents who weren't just greedy enough to do that, but then also kept quiet about it, even though they could have prevented so much misery. And they dare put their 8 beautiful grandchildren at risk. I can't understand this. There's no way to defend that. Then there's my parents, for obviously sexual abuse from one of them, verbal and physical abuse from the other, then not being believed, and of course being harassed by my own mother, blaming the computer for streaming bacteria into my eye, which is obviously completely fucking impossible. But yeah, my parents should have known better. Then, it's the doctor for obviously not taking a blood test for 10 years for some reason, even though all the other tests failed. And also putting me on antibiotics for 6 years, that was pretty damn bad. Then there's the teachers for failing to acknowledge that something was wrong. Especially the main teacher who just yelled at me for the first 6 years I had her. And she told me I was wrong, she told me I was dumb, she told me I was never gonna amount to anything. Then in high school I get a teacher who teaches the same stuff as her. It takes me out to another room and shows me a math sheet with 10 questions. And he tells me to just show him how I do math. And in less than 2 minutes he cracked what I did wrong. He realized I had a gift where I just got the answer. Like, I saw an equation and I solved it, like it was that simple. But he realized I was skipping some steps when he saw me doing it live, and then he taught me what I had to do. And it took literally just 2 minutes. Like, this teacher for 6 years failed at teaching me, and she used the same argument or the same sentence or whatever over and over again every single time, expecting a change. Obviously it didn't work. But this guy sat down and took his time and tried to help his student. And because of him I went from 2 in math to 5. From starting off at 2 out of 6 and went up to 5 out of 6 on average. Like, he showed my true potential, and I'm so thankful to that teacher to this day. But the teachers I had for the first 10 years, they were terrible. And the 11th year of school is kind of irrelevant, because I was so happy then and didn't have any problems. But then, after that, that's when, for the last 3 years, that's when I had good teachers. And that's also when the problems kind of came back. But yeah, then there's also the classmates, their sin is just beating up the crippled kid. Like, why the hell would you do that? Why? Why pick on the defenseless and not somebody your own size? I don't get it. And because of them I'm missing my jaw discs and I have a cracked whatever. Never gotten it looked at or diagnosed, and I assume it's too healed to look at with scans, but something here is kinda broken. And the last place where I was really unlucky was having one stupid gene that was bad, which had to give me Bechd's disease. And that's what made my entire life possible. That's why I had 10 medical conditions at the same time by age 20. It's why I had 15 in total by age 22, even though when I was 22 I think I had 7. And that's what led me to today. Been on welfare for 3 years, lived in this apartment for 2 years. Don't really feel energized or motivated or anything. But I have it better than 90% of people on the planet Earth, and it's amazing how much better I want to feel and how much better I demand that I feel. And how much better I think I deserve to feel. Because yeah, I'm goddamn right. Nobody should have all their options taken away from them like mine were. Whew. But yeah, I think I've poured out my heart enough today, and yeah. So I don't know. I have all the reasons in the world to be depressed, but I also don't really have any reasons to be. So I don't know. I think I'm just having one of those low energy spirals. It's kind of similar to my sleeping problems, I suppose, where I get sleepy, then awake, sleepy, awake, sleepy, awake. And it keeps going in that cycle until I get sleepy enough to actually fall asleep. And that's kind of the story of my life, where energy and no energy, energy and no energy. And now I feel like my energy has just dropped below where it should be. So I don't think it's depression. I think I'm just hitting a new low for the amount of energy. And like that trash I'm looking at, I was supposed to take out every day for 3 days now, and haven't been able to. It's probably a trash bag in the trash can, plus a trash bag on the floor because it's overflown. God damn it, Ash. God damn it. At least I still have my humor. Good thing I don't have to throw out food, because otherwise that would be nasty. Good thing all my trash is stupid plastic. Or cardboard. So yeah. I hope this video made you feel something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Or maybe not. I'm weird.